Continue to follow developing news out of Springfield, where 14 people are now without a home after an early morning fire on Carlisle Street. The fire affecting 2 multifamily houses. Western Mass News reporter Addie Patterson joins us live in Springfield with more after speaking with officials about the incident. Addie, what can you tell us?
Chris, no injuries were reported following this morning's fire here in Springfield, and the Red Cross is currently assisting those families that have been affected.
Could have been a lot worse.
Around 2 a.m. Friday morning, crews in Springfield responded to a house fire on Carlisle Street. The fire quickly spreading to a neighboring multifamily home, affecting 28 through 30 and 34 through 36 Carlisle Street.
The initial house that was on fire caught the exposure on the delta side of the original structure that was on fire. That extended into the attic area on that house.
Western Mass News spoke with Springfield Fire Captain Drew Piemonte. He explains that intense winds caused the fire to spread, making it tough for crews to battle.
The high winds will act as an accelerant to the fire, fueling the fire, which causes the volume of fire to increase.
Local nonprofit organizations also coming out early Friday morning to help assist the affected families.
So we were able to get them issued a financial assistance card, so they are able to use that and get them connected if they needed a hotel, if they're staying with family. They can still use that for replacing other items that they may have lost.
We caught up with Community Disaster Program Manager for the Red Cross, Nicole Barbosa. She explains that during these emergency situations, families are left scrambling for safety.
You don't get to grab important documents, credit cards, all that kind of stuff.
Barbosa tells Western Mass News it's these types of emergency situations where her organization sees extreme love and kindness from the community.
Our community is just so strong and, wraps around people when they're going through difficult times like this, and just very grateful for everyone that's kind of been a part of that.
This morning's fire is currently under investigation by the Springfield Arson and Bomb Squad. For now, reporting live in Springfield, Addie Patterson, Western Mass News.
Addie, thank you for that live report. Time now for another edition of our Friday Night Frenzy. It's the last week of the regular season, which means you, the viewers, have to decide one more game of the week. And for more, we turn to Western Mass News reporter Matt Price. Matt.